speak up a little bit, Ted?
Sure. Okay. Like that. Okay. So.
Some people think this is fake, okay? You know, I've been around Ted and whatever, that he's manipulating the slide. It is not the case, okay? It's,
If you manipulate it, if you know how to do it, then you have to do it every time. And then somebody else who's not as sneaky as you can't do it. You know, and then they'll call you saying,
Ted's
hey,
not that sneaky.
no. I find that it is what it is. People are looking for some trickery here. It's just not here. Actually, I always have people say, see if I'm doing something subconsciously. Okay, so this is okay. So where's the water?
She's showing off.
Okay.
So,
Let's
Get the water because it takes a few minutes. So while we're doing this, we'll have
Yeah.
the water.
So-
I'll be able to tell you how much hydrogen.
this is kind of like, we haven't done this before, right, Ted?
No, this is
We
the
haven't
first
done this. This is like.
So I'm gonna pour hydrogen in here. Yeah, well, this part I can do the test many times over. So I have blue reagent, which is over here, and it will tell me how many parts per million. If the liquid turns blue and stays blue, there's no hydrogen in the water. If it starts to turn clear, there is hydrogen in the water. There's a presence of hydrogen. And again, this was poured about 2 hours ago at home. It's going clear.
Wow, well, that's cool.
So I will do the same thing. I'll open the bottled water and you can see. So I'm looking at this and it's
That's
getting there. I am going to put a pill in one of the other bottles for our next test, so we get a really good dosage of hydrogen. And this is just it's starting to get there. So this is what, 3 to 4 drops. So this is 0.04 parts per million. So 0.03 parts per million. It's a very low content of hydrogen. But let's see what it does.
Okay. So,
And then we'll see with the other test what will happen as well. Yeah, let's get that cleaned up. Okay, so we're gonna pour.
We got an insurance policy for this?
Oh,
Yeah, just make sure, right?
it's not poison. There you go. The king's servant. So we'll have that. I'm gonna take this one over here, and I will add a pill. So whoever's gonna be next on that, it'll be a bit chalky, but I want to make sure the hydrogen content is high.
so definitely the cells are sticking together. There's a lot of acids in the background. You can see here, these are called circular discs. There's a lot of acids, there's a lot of debris. That's acid right there. There's definitely work to be done. So we
Ted,
need to
Ted, can I
alcohol.
ask you a question?
Yes.
In terms of absorption of oxygen by those cells,
Yeah.
if they're all stuck together,
Yes.
is that interfering with the absorption of
Big
oxygen?
time,
Yeah.
big time, because the red blood cells, remember, they're very tiny. They look big because of the microscope, but they're tiny.
Yeah.
They're 7 microns wide.
Right.
So there's very little surface area to begin with. Then when they get into a clump like this, there's even less surface area for oxygen to get in. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why sometimes people will have things like get tired, out of breath easy, or cold hands, cold feet, circulation issues, because and then of course the background, because the flow isn't as good, it's harder for the body to get rid of the toxins.
I'm gonna send, you've got everybody's email address? I'm gonna send an email to Sylvia, I think she already has it. She should send it out, you read the article, because I only read it on the weekend, about why you wanna have your cells absorbing oxygen.
Let you drink
okay?
another, because that was a small cup. We'll let you drink one more.
Okay.
This is not with the thing, the pill was in there, so this is the same bottles. It's probably the same amount of hydrogen.
So now there's some candida, but it's not a lot. Today I'm more concerned about all this acid in your system.
Okay.
Have you been feeling achy? Have you been feeling?
No, but I have a rash on me.
Okay.
I put some medicine on it now, but I thought it was candida, and so I was so glad to come.
Okay.
I sold water treatment equipment for 8 years. I have my own company,
Okay.
so I know a lot about water.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I know a lot about alkaline water. Even though I know that, I haven't.
You wanna say something?
Practice.
No, I'm just
Obviously.
looking to make sure that at least this is 3 parts per million, so I know the change.
That's cool.
So as soon as it stops turning clear, You can see the hydrogens at the bottom right now. Mix it up. I think they have a little toothpick in here somewhere.
Just so you know, I live in this condo. I have no connection. I know Sylvia, and I'm not selling anything. I know Ted. I'm here to see. I want to see this water do whatever, because I believe seeing is believing, or whatever.
So this water is 2 parts per million. I was only able to get 2 drops. From my tap at home, I'm getting about 11 drops.
11 parts per million.
11 parts per million.
Okay. Well, let's wait a few more minutes and then we'll do it.
Yeah,
Sounds
absolutely.
So why don't you say a little bit about the bottled water and what's in the water in the bottle?
Wow, I know McGill did a whole study on that, and Ted can probably tell us a lot more what's in the bottled water, but yeah, there's a lot of toxins in there. What a lot of people, I mean, for the most part, you know, the layperson thinks, oh, they just fill up the bottle and they got these bottles and then they pour the water in. If you ever watch a video on what they do, does anybody know how big this is before it's inflated? It's the size of your pinky. It's really cool. Like, they don't ship these bottles like that. The same place where they're filling this with water, they have this little pinky-sized plastic container. They inject it with heat and air, and it goes, fills up, and immediately they fill it with water, and then they cap it.
Wow.
So heated plastic is now sitting with your water, and that's what McGill was finding. Those little plastic particles floating around. You know, forget about the whales swallowing this. We're swallowing little bits of plastic. You know, and then it's the toxins in the source water, and everybody's a little bit different. But literally, that's all it is, because when they buy them, they buy these big boxes, and there's thousands and thousands of little tiny things. It's really cool. A 2-liter bottle is the size of a test tube. So that's kind of, YouTube it. It's fascinating to see these things filled up, but it's not necessarily, you know, healthy and all that waste. But it's cool science. I thought that was
Another thing is, those bottles are biodegradable. Now, biodegradable plastic doesn't mean it starts to biodegrade after you're finished with it and it's in the blue bin. It starts biodegrading the minute it's manufactured. So that thing is biodegrading into the water right now. It's a biodegradable bottle. It's supposed to be disappearing,
Wow.
right? So anytime you have anything in something biodegradable, people think, oh great, it's going to biodegrade so it won't be in the ocean for 1,000 years, it'll biodegrade in 20. But it's biodegrading right now into that water.
Yeah.
And the hotter it is, the colder it is, the more it biodegrades.
Yeah,
We
so
don't
when
know
you
how long
leave this
it's
in the
been in the
car,
water.
and then it cools down during the night, and then it's in a hot car during the day and
Yeah.
cool, and then finally you give it to your kids, like
Or people-
unfortunately
or
I've done.
Or people put it in the freezer, and you know, as it melts on a hot day, they drink it. That's the worst thing to do. That's the
Oh
worst
wow.
thing to do.
Wow, look at that.
And
I
people
didn't know.
do that. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, I've never done that, but
Yeah,
you know, you've been tempted to because on
It's
a
a
hot
nice
day,
pack.
yeah, it's because, well, a nice pack is okay as long as you don't drink it. But so again, we got this debris here, and we've got the sticky cells. So this should be very interesting. This is the first time I'm doing it, so
Yeah.
I have no idea what we're gonna see.
So again, 3 parts per million. We'll see what happens, and then we can even do it one more time where it's going to be about 10 or 12 parts per million.
Anybody up for an inaugural photo? Would your son take a photo of us?
Sure. Look, if you want to go over there and.
Since we're all here anyways. And if you
Well,
prefer
no,
not
no.
to be in the photo, if you want to step out while we take the photo, I think we're in all there. I'm not sure if the flash is on, so let's see if that'll work.
It's amazing how everybody's always quiet during the photo.
Yeah.
Like holding their breath and quiet.
Don't talk.
Nobody's talking.
That's right.
Posing, huh?
Don't talk.
I'm videotaping everybody's talking. He takes a photo and there's silence.
And, you know, if you've got a picture of 40 people, you always look at you in the picture, and if you turned out good, oh, this is a good picture.
Yeah.
You don't look at anybody else. That's just the way it works.
Everybody else is.
And another thing, when somebody says, "Oh, this is a picture of me when I was younger," all pictures of you are when you were younger.
That's right.
Anyway,
Okay,
a couple of observations.
another fingerprint.
Uh-huh. Well, we've heard some benefits of this water of
Yeah.
us feeling younger at least.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it
Oh, you tried some?
at your place.
Hey Naveen, we
Okay,
know
I think
for
we had a
sure
little bit
this has
then.
never happened in this library, right?
No,
This kind
no,
of thing? Yeah.
we play bridge here tomorrow
That's
night.
right.
we'll play, yeah.
Hey,
So
well,
we're the
let's see
exact
how the
same
blood
thing.
goes.
So multiple use of this facility here, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've known Sylvia and Ted for a while, and I promoted the live blood thing. And there's other
Many years, right?
enough years, and there are other things that can change the blood. But I figured water. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Anyways, I'm here. I'm here as a sounding column. I believe that it could happen.
So you have to witness.
I have to. Oh yes, I'm a lawyer, right? Oh no.
Yeah.
I gotta be here to see this. And we'll see what happens.
And that's to cut the glare.
Yeah, that's on every sample. It's called immersion oil. It just cuts the glare. The blood is between two pieces of glass, so it doesn't contaminate the sample, but it just means we can use higher magnification.
There's no blood at all.
Wow,
There you go.
Wendy.
Wow, that's
There you go.
amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's really
Like I
like,
said,
And that's
That's
3
pretty-
parts per million.
that's
Yes.
pretty impressive.
That's
So you can see not only are they loose, but the background is clean.
Yeah.
Ted, 20
yeah.
years of doing this. Have you ever seen this before?
This is amazing. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
This is what a difference, huh?
You must feel younger already.
Amazing.
You got happy blood.
I'll bring them. I will say
Because I do drink.
And all you did was drink the water. I mean, it's amazing. Amazing. So like I said, be interesting to see how long it lasts, because it could last an hour, it could last 5 days, it could
Yeah.
last a week. But this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.